with Suburbicon. Now it's downsizing. On this one, I think the critics are totally wrong. I think this movie's brilliant. I love any science fiction that takes a figurative concept that people talk about and through technology makes it a literal reality. So everyone's talking about how we need to be more sustainable and we need to downshift and create less. See these shrunken people. A lot of people are going to have this reaction that, God, only humans or only white liberals could possibly think that shrinking yourself down to the size of an ant where an 8-year-old could squish you with their thumb represents progress and pat themselves on the back about that. And it's like you're a positive effect on the world around you as an actor in world history. Like, how much can you affect the world around you 8 inches small? So you're essentially over guilt from the negative impact you're having on the environment. You're basically taking yourself out of the equation. It's like one step removed from like the voluntary human extinction movement. But that's not the only reason that people are shrinking themselves. Another reason is you can live a more lavish lifestyle and be richer. And there's a lot of interesting things there. One is this idea of like absolute wealth versus relative wealth. Of course, your wealth hasn't changed in an absolute sense. It may have even decreased, but relative to other tiny people around you, you feel richer, so you are richer in a sense. So it's that interesting idea that wealth is relative. There's also this idea that you're so obsessed with the rich and their lifestyle and envious that just to get a taste of that, you're going to shrink yourself down to 8 inches tall and, like I say, take yourself out of world history and ability to have any kind of impact on the world in a meaningful way. And then third, it's this interesting idea of always we see saving the environment presented as, well, you have to sacrifice and you have to live a less lavish lifestyle. It's interesting to see it in reverse, where actually saving the environment and being more rich go hand in hand, and you kind of can have your cake and eat it too. And then it was very interesting to see all the different reasons why people were doing this, whether it was to save a marriage, you know, rather than having a kid to save a marriage, you go shrink yourself to save a marriage to feel important. They want to feel like a pioneer, or they're just bored. They feel, you know, they want some excitement in their life. So all these different, fairly prosaic reasons why people are going to do this crazy new technology. And then we get to the twist where Matt Damon shrinks himself down and his wife doesn't and backs out. And you get this just incredibly powerful dynamic of him having to sign divorce papers, which is already incredibly emasculating to have to do this in front of your wife's attorney. But now it's coupled by the fact that he's now 8 inches tall and she's still normal size. It takes this process that is already one of the most, you know, horrible feelings you can have and just amplifies it. And it's so funny when he's being introduced to this community by this, you know, enthusiastic greeting guy talking about the, you know, normal things like, oh, the water comes on a little hot. And it's just like, why does he care about the water coming on a little hot? He's 8 inches tall and his wife is just leaving him. And then you get to the part where he's on that blind date, and at the end of the date, she kind of rejects him. I think this was his last attempt to kind of stay in the suburban, normal world of respectability, and just the unfairness and the injustice of him just getting refused. Even now, he's still trying to be normal and respectable, but they've just rejected him and said, no, you can't be part of this world. So then you see him try to go into the drug black market subculture, and you see him as a normal guy. The whole time they've emphasized he's from the Midwest. He, you know, has this fairly ordinary job, but you see him, how a normal ordinary guy can't quite do it. He wants to take drugs from that random woman at the party, but then when he finally gets the nerve to do it, he quickly runs to the bathroom and throws up. He's asking her, well, I have allergies. Like, he just can't be like the Christopher Waltz and the other Euro guy. So there's the obvious irony of someone who's done this risky procedure of shrinking themselves down to 8 inches tall, scared to take a pill from a woman at the club. And then when Christopher Waltz and Udo Kier are sitting on the couch with their stogies cackling, it's such a representation of everything the average guy with the mortgage just can't do. The women, the illegality, the black market, living in the moment, not caring about the end of the world, just partying it up, just what the housekeeper. And he's a nice guy. He wants to help, but when he tries to help, he bungles things even worse. So she gets so angry at him, even though he was just trying to help, and suddenly she's more vicious with him than with the rich assholes that don't respect her and are oppressing her. And it's just this kind of crazy absurdism. And the movie's transitioned from, sci-fi absurdism at the beginning, and then just slowly became average human absurdism and these kind of dynamics that would form at the end of the world, of kind of the rich psychopath people just living it up and having fun, and the good, decent people just taking on more of the burden and getting no credit and just getting more and more shit on for it. And Christopher Waltz, when he first meets Matt Damon's character, he pegs him as a nice guy, kind of a pathetic, sad man. And then in like the span of a couple weeks, he doesn't see him for a bit, and then he opens his door and he sees his housekeeper, and he sees Matt Damon standing meekly behind her with a vacuum cleaner strapped to his back. And what other reaction can he have but just laugh in his face? And then finally, at the end of the movie, you see Matt Damon's character have the chance at significance, what he's been searching for this whole time. He can be one of the few pioneers that gets to restart the human race. But his love interest at this point, she just doesn't, it's unclear why she doesn't want to do it. You can have different interpretations of why, but she's just not interested whatsoever, just wants to stay here on Earth, doing what she's always been doing, has no interest in this new expedition. She keeps calling it a stupid hole. And his other friends at this point, they just want to party and live it up. They say, why would we want to go live in a hole with people? They're going to go crazy and kill themselves long before we do. So it's just this absurdism where finally he has what he's seemingly been searching for this whole time, and all the people around him, for different reasons, just have no interest in it. And then there's this great moment at the end where he runs away from this new adventure, and you could say that's just him being cowardly, like he's been doing this whole time, and being scared to really push himself and take any risks. Or you could say he's finally accepted his lot in life and accepted his being with someone he loves and kind of working for the betterment of the less fortunate, as miserable and as ordinary as that might be. If you like my review, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, you can click my face at the end of the video to subscribe. If you leave a comment, let me know how you like the movie, any other movies you'd like me to review, or any other thoughts on my reviews in general. Leave a comment and I'll be sure to read it and reply.